All right, so you're back from Denmark, right?
Yes, back from Denmark.
Yeah, because It's been hard to get this guy on the show. Flattered you're here. Thank you, sir. But your schedule is insane, so I can somewhat relate, but not like that. You were here, and then in a day, you got called to Denmark. So what was that about?
Oh, okay. So yeah, that was part of an Army mission we're doing, and when my boss can't be there, I'm the number 2 in charge, and he was like, "Hey, I can't make it to Denmark." It's like a week before he was supposed to go. I had no intention of going, and then probably 4 days before we were supposed to go, it was sort of a no. It was like a soft no. And then Friday in the morning, they're like, "All right, you guys have to go. Your government travel cards aren't ready. You'll have to buy your own ticket. We'll reimburse you, but like they want 2 people to go.
Okay.
Call me right now." Called some people. Friday by the afternoon, I had a plane ticket for leaving on Monday. Yeah, that's how that goes
It
down.
seems like you're
sometimes.
pretty used to that, though. It's
Yeah, you kind of learn that through the Army and other places, mostly the Army. They're pretty good at just kind of like, going with the flow, we'll call it. So, yeah.
And it looked like you went there via China. How many airports did it take you to get there? It's like there was 2 or 3 involved, right?
Yeah, well, we could only book through one agency per se, and so
Okay.
I was like, "Hey, it's Friday. I'm calling some agency," and I'm like, "I need to leave on Monday. I need to be back on Friday again." And they're like, "That's not easy to do." And I'm like, "I know." So we went to Detroit, then Amsterdam, then over to Denmark, which was not terrible, but we had like 2 long layovers, like one 4 hours, one 3 hours.
Right.
So it made the whole trip like all-nighter. Yeah.
Oh boy.
One of those days. Yeah. One of those days.
So I think we talked a little bit off camera, and I think it's going to be important for us in our conversation to take you all the way back. I'm fascinated about your history. Californian,
yes,
natural Californian,
native, yes.
Excuse me,
yeah.
Naturalized native. Naturalized, probably the appropriate word out there at the moment. But what I don't do is do an interview style with this show, Ethan. But I think with you, it might be a good idea just to take it all the way back. So if you're comfortable with it, let's just take it back from you're born and raised in Cali, right?
Born and raised mostly in California, but
Okay.
we did move a lot. So I came from an Air Force background for my dad, and so we ended up moving. We moved a couple different times, and I spent the majority of the developmental childhood time period in England, actually.
Okay.
So I started in California. We went to like New Mexico and Guam, short stints. I was really young, and then probably, I guess, elementary school into middle school time period, I was in England, and spent time in England. Yeah, and we spent time, like, I lived off base, went to like the public school there. I mean, I was very much English, at least in my head. I was there, and I was like, yeah, like this is where I live, this is where I grew up, type of deal. And then we ended up coming back to California before I went into high school.
What was that like?
Not the easiest transition. Like, because it was before high school, it was this weird age where it's like, kids are a-holes at that age, I'll put it that way. So coming to a new country that, I was born in that town that I came back to, but
Okay.
it was very odd to come back, but also it was just a little bit of a hard transition, like not knowing anybody and stuff like that, which is pretty typical, but it was a very strange age to come back, and like around age 12, 13.
Okay.
So caused its own challenges, but because I'd moved, like making friends wasn't the hardest thing for me. Made some enemies though, being like the new guy with an accent, but like, I was able to make friends.
You took on the whole accent and everything. I mean,
I had a full-blown accent. I grew up like not American.
Okay.
During those like primary ages
Sure.
where you're kind of like developing and
Right.
things that you're interested in, and like sports, and I was 100% English. I didn't watch American TV very much. I didn't know the shows. I hadn't watched a football game until I went to high school, essentially.
And baseball wasn't a thing over there, I'd imagine.
No.
So you got to the States. And
No. I'd seen it when we would visit, but like, it was always interesting. I was like, oh, that's cool, but like, that was it.
No exposure to it at all.
No, not those sports at least.
Did you play soccer when you were young over there?
Oh yeah, every day. Yeah.
still a
You
soccer
played
fan?
every day there. Yeah.
You still a soccer fan?
I am. Not as much, but like you grew up there playing it like it's any other sport. Like
Okay.
every single day we played it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, total English kid growing up. Yeah.
All right, so you come back to the States 12, 13 years old.
Yep.
And high school was for you what? High school was memorable, not memorable?
Yeah, I probably had a very, very good high school experience. High school that we went to in general was great.
And what town in
So I moved back to San Luis Obispo, California, which is like north of LA, like up the 101.
Right.
4 hours north. And our high school was phenomenally good. I thought it was amazing, and the experience that I had there was I went into high school. I became an athlete in high school, so kind of broke that barrier where I feel like I didn't know as many people. And then in high school is where I really kind of had my friend groups going on. And generally speaking, though, I was kind of friends with everybody. So like I didn't really stick to a certain group. I was like a jock some days and an art major going into that. So I just would bounce around and really just hung out with anybody and everybody. I had a phenomenal time. But I got heavily involved in sports in high school. At least the sport that I did, and that led me into going into college as a college athlete. And
what sport was that?
So I was on the swim team.
Okay.
I started diving right before high school and picked up varsity my first year in high school after a couple competitions there. Was naturally good. So transitioned from like gymnastics when I was a kid, been doing that my whole life. And then and transitioned into diving for competitively in high school, and then won the equivalent to like state there my last year.
Okay.
And that kind of opened up some weird doors of like things that I did later, which was pretty cool.
Where'd you go to college?
I went to college at Clarion.
Okay.
To specifically for their diving team. Coach Rovat out there is like
Clarion
one of the
here.
best coaches.
Clarion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that coach there, his name's Dave. He recruits everybody from anywhere. And I would say like I would put up Clarion's swimming team against almost every D1 team in this area because I mean we competed against Pitt and Akron, and we went up to Buffalo, and I mean we never lost to all the D1 schools, and we were just a D2 school.
Right. That was their thing.
Yes. Yeah. So besides for like the wrestling up there, the swim team up there is just absolutely phenomenal.
Okay.
Hopefully they still are. I know the diving team still is. The swim team I know kind of has ups and downs a little bit.
All right.
But they're still kick ass for this area.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right. So you finished your 4 years at Clarion.
Yep.
And then what?
So I had done a few different things throughout those like 4 years. So besides for being like an athlete as a diver, competitively, I actually did show diving too. So during the summers I did that, and I spent more time traveling.
All right.
Hence my kind of urge to always move and like learn new things and meet new people. And then halfway through school, during 3 of the summers I was gone doing shows, and then I went into the Army and joined the ROTC program, which would be my junior year, and started that whole journey. So I was kind of burned out from diving, been competing forever, since I was a kid through gymnastics, and so I was always on a competitive mindset, and both sports were all year round. And so I kind of just, I mean, through college, I wish I would have stayed with it more, but by sophomore year I was like, I think I'm done. I think I just need to do something different.
Yeah, it's demanding too, and he probably had so much of it.
I mean, I had it every summer, all summer before college, and then there it's like you do like two workouts a day, full time, all the time. It just, it's a commitment.
There's no question. It's a physical commitment as well as a mental commitment.
Yes, yeah, and then like on top of just like wanting to be a student and wanting to go do fun stuff and like be in your classes, if you cared enough to be there. Some people were like, yeah, I don't care, and some people were like, yeah, I'm kind of torn. They work 60 hours a week doing both things practically and don't really have free time. So,
as the son of a military man, is that what also kind of nudged or pushed you into to the Army?
Yes and no. It's I think in general I knew I was going to join the military at some point. I thought of like an OCS route. I thought about just trying to enlist, but it was never like a hard stance where I was like a kid and I was like I want to join for sure. Play with GI Joes, sure, but like it was never like I'm going to be a soldier as my career. It was never a part of my whole life trajectory. I saw it as like, I'll probably do it for a couple years, just like my dad did, and just like everybody in our family did. No one's a career person that I know of that's still alive. They might have been before.
Sure.
And so the time kind of came where I was like in this transitional phase, like most young men at the age of 20, like they don't really know what they're doing.
Right.
That's when like a whole bunch of my friends kind of switch schools or whatever.
They think they do.
Of course they do. Of course they do. Some think they do, and then most like end up making a big switch. It seems like a big switch is made around probably 19 or 20 where you change majors or you don't want to go to college or something happens. And for me, I was like, all right, I'm done with sports, and I wanted to figure out what I was going to do. Like I didn't really take school seriously. I did fun artistic things for fun, but I didn't even take those seriously too much. And so I was like, you know what? I think maybe if I join the ROTC program here, that's my next adventure per se. And so then I kind of pursued that my junior year, which is actually late to join that program too. So I had to go to like the basic training for cadets at the time, the first summer I was in, and then commissioning at the end of my last year. So I only had a 2-year block of like training before you become an officer.
Right.
Most people have 4. So I was kind of full throttle in it. And yeah, we went to a couple schools that really humbled me, let's say.
Okay, and?
Like the first school I went to is what they call the 10 hardest days in the Army. It's going to air assault school, which is not that difficult. 10 hardest days is pretty vague to just kind of throw out there, but that was the first training I ever did before I went to basic training. They had switched over my orders and they're like, hey, like you qualified for the school, and I knew nothing about it. I showed up there not knowing how to like barely how to put on a uniform.
Wow.
I was going through like a school that like has a badge earned, and I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I was like, oh, this is not good, but we're just gonna go, we're just gonna wing it, and it worked out. So then did that, transitioned into heading to basic training at the time straight after that, and then commissioned a year later, and decided to join the infantry. So and then I went to the infantry officer training school, which is also kind of a kick in the face. So yeah, I don't know. I think I just like challenges, or just I hate myself or something. Like,
Glutton for punishment or something.
Yeah, I don't know why I keep doing this to myself. Like I know it sucks. I just like sometimes I'm just like, yeah, but I'm just gonna do it anyways.
But you naturally like the physical challenge of it, am I right? The physical part of it, yeah. And obviously there's mental challenges there as well too.
Yeah, I'm more competitive with myself than with other people. Like some people go into things and they seem to be competitive with somebody else. I've always been competitive with myself. So these challenges were always like, cool. Like I want to join the infantry because it's hard, and I want to join it because it has a hard, tough mission that I want to be proud to be a part of, and and so that's just kind of where it landed me, doing something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how, when you came out of Clarion, how did you said you just recently landed here in Pittsburgh?
I did,
Is that correct?
Correct,
So obviously there's a time gap in between there naturally.
Yep.
And what are we missing? Are we missing, because I want to get to where entrepreneurship became like a passion for you. That's where we're headed. I want to see where the roots of that came from. It's fascinating to me.
Yeah, so when I joined the Army and commissioned, I chose to go to the National Guard and not go active duty.
Okay.
And the reason was I wanted to go to grad school and learn more about business.
Okay.
So I came from an art undergrad degree, and to me, I knew that, all right, I'm not going to go through active duty. Art degree is probably not going to get me a job, like offhand. Like
You don't say.
yeah, but like I went to school for a sport, and so like the degree didn't really matter to me. It was just kind of one of those things where I was like, I don't really care. I just kind of want to like go do the college thing, go for a sport.
At that point.
Oh yeah, and then that kind of progressed, and I was like, you know what? I think I want to get I want to go to grad school for business, so I switched over to that department upon graduation and started through there.
Okay.
And halfway through that schooling, I got deployed. So right when I got back from job training, another 6 months later, they're like, hey, you're going overseas to the Middle East. And I'm like, all right, I guess grad school goes on hold.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was there for 1 extra year, gone a year, and then came back and had school for another year. That's what kept me there for that amount of time.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Middle East.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that was like the broad strokes there. But yeah, deployment came around, and it's that was definitely the most eye-opening thing that I've been through, and I think the most life-changing to see where I'm at now.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I think when I was going into grad school, wanting to learn about stuff with business and wanting to be able to like pursue a job that I knew was going to kind of like pay more and like things like that, it didn't really come across as an entrepreneur aspect of it. It was just like, yeah, I need to learn more about companies and have more opportunities. And then I went on deployment, and I was like, cool, school's on hold, I'll go make some money, go to the Middle East, go do that thing, the job part of our job, not just the training. Okay. And then I'll come back and get done with school and just start to go down that corporate route of some sort. But deployment was the most eye-opening thing ever. It was some of the worst times and some of the best times kind of mixed.
Okay.
And as a young leader being in charge of a platoon of 35 people, it's a really weird dynamic that you're in charge of somebody who's like 56 years old, who's been to war twice. Almost everybody that you're in charge of has been on a deployment, and you're in charge of them being the youngest guy,
right,
who really doesn't know shit. Okay. And it's an interesting dynamic, And when I was over there, I kind of had pros and cons experiences, but essentially I'd kind of not had a lot of faith in the people that were in charge of us at certain degrees, and it was a place where it kind of made everybody, like the culture that we were in at some point, pretty miserable.
Okay.
Sort of like men without a mission over there, because we were doing stuff but not really doing enough stuff, and it's where you kind of, you have like the husband and the wife problem where you might fight and argue. It's really kind of about nothing because we didn't really have things that brought us together as a unit.
Okay. I feel like you were just killing time there for a bit.
Yeah, it was like partially that, but partially just having to deal with so much of like the BS instead of really having a purpose, really having a mission, really doing my job.
Okay.
I was kind of taken out of my parts of jobs, and so was everybody. And it was kind of just this weird dynamic where like as a unit, just culturally, like it just was like turned toxic, and it was really hard to get out of because like you're working every day, no days off. And you're always in charge of somebody, and you kind of just can't really get out of this rut. I kind of got myself out of it though over there when I was like, you know what, I'm just not happy doing this. And it's not like I wasn't happy with my guys or my unit, but it was mostly parts of the leadership that I saw that were bringing in toxicity. Was like, like I don't want to end up being like that as a leader.
Okay.
And I don't want to come back and have a job where I'm like that, where I'm just like
Sure.
not happy.
Sure.
And it was weird, but about halfway through deployment, I did two things. I stopped smoking cigarettes over there, which was very hard to do because it's about all you can do. And then I decided I was going to start a business, and I was like, I want to do work for myself, but mostly do something that I enjoy. And so I kind of like totally switched my mindset there to like kind of get myself out of this rut. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to spend all my free time learning about how the hell I start a business.
Okay.
And so terrible Wi-Fi. All I could do is open up like things to read. I couldn't really watch stuff through YouTube very easily.
Okay.
And so I'd just read articles on like how to start a business 101 and just read stuff every day. And throw up some Gary V, let that buffer overnight or over the day if I was gone at night on a mission.
That bad, huh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And just I would let like 6 things load and leave and come back and watch them all just to kind of keep myself motivated, to be like, all right, like let's use my time wisely here. Because
he's something else, huh?
Oh, my God. Yeah. Yeah, he's great. Oh, and I actually met him after deployment. That's a whole different. Yeah, it's a whole different thing too.
We'll get there.
But yeah, so I was very fascinated with the ability to be an entrepreneur, and it was a mix between my experience there and then the polar opposite, where I was like, you're in the Middle East and you see like shitty places, and I'm like, man, all I got to do when I go home is just get started. Some of these people can't. Like, you talk to the 13-year-old boy and his parents have been taken by ISIS, and he lives in Jordan just trying to, like, steal stuff from you to live. Like, I mean, it's just, like, one of those things where, like, whoa, like, you might not ever actually be able to get out of it. But for us, like, there's damn near no excuse. Like, almost none. So the combination of both of those, I was like, man, I need to get my ass in gear when I get home because, like, why not? Like, what have I been doing that's been that productive, at least in my head?
And what's stopping you?
Right. Yeah, that's what I told myself. I'm like, oh yeah, well, I've always had no time. And then I was like, well, in college I had plenty of time, I thought I was busy, but I wasn't really busy doing much. So I kind of I spent all my time learning about stuff that I think would benefit me and learning how to start a business. And I started the business overseas. I opened up an account overseas for like a credit card.
Really?
Did QuickBooks overseas. Oh, I did the whole thing.
So you really got into business over there.
Yeah, I started it in January and we didn't get back till March.
And what business was it?
It's called First Victory Films, and it was a film production place.
All right.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, so I started it and had nothing. I had no camera gear yet, but I made like a list of things I had to get when I got back and like saved up enough money from deployment that I was like, all right, I can spend, $10,000 on just camera stuff to start everything. Like, that's what I can use.
How did you choose that field? Was photography with you in prior years? You were exposed at a younger age. What was the pull to that?
Yeah, see, and that was the thing that I'd always done for fun in high school and college. I shot pictures for fun. In my art classes, I leaned towards it, but I didn't even major in production. And I think during that time period where I was at those rough moments is when I really dig deep, and I was like, what do I really miss doing? Like, what could I do and make money and be happy? And it brought me back to wanting to film stuff, wanting to create content. And then I was like, why don't I do that for other people? So the idea of First Victory Films was sort of like I would be like someone's first step in that direction too. So small productions that could help out small businesses was kind of like my mindset.
Okay.
So it was something small I could start up at Clarion because I knew, all right, cool, I'll come back, low overhead, just work out of my house and just like learn everything I need to know and just kind of build from there and then move, and then hopefully take it with me, or maybe it's just one of those experiences.
Okay.
So like the whole thing started overseas, and
That's
I mean,
fascinating to me.
Yeah, like I think on average I work 12-hour day overseas, so I took the other 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever it might be and just studied, got onto LegalZoom, made an LLC, like did the whole ordeal, and just researched a lot. So because you have no weekends, you have no girls to distract you, you can't drink, yeah.
What else you're gonna do?
You're forced to like either be focused, be lazy, or be depressed. And I was tired of being depressed, and I hurt myself there at one point, so I couldn't work out. I was like, dude, this sucks.
What happened
I was just like, I was training for this like school that they had in Kuwait when we were in Jordan, and I was doing a ton of running, doing like carrying a bunch of weight, practicing to ruck march, and then on top of that trying to lift weights, and I just overdid it, and so like hurt myself to the point where I couldn't even lift for 3 months out of the 12, and I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna lose my mind out here in the desert. So so I concentrated my energy. Some guys just hung out and play lots of video games and watch lots of movies, and I did my fair amount of like doing the laziness, but kind of being in charge. I always had to be on call, so I was like, you know what, if I can bring a Kindle with me or like something with me to read, at least that's better than like nothing. So you get out. When did you get out of the deployment? When did you come back? Came back 2017.
Okay.
March. Well, I guess March was transitioning back, but we got back in May of 2017.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And then what?
I continued grad school. I almost dropped it at that point because I was like, cool, I'm gonna start a business. Like that's what I want to do.
Okay.
I thought about dropping it, and then I was like, I got halfway through it, like no degree and a bunch of loans. Like what's the deal with that? That's that's just a bad move. And like I don't like to quit stuff, so I was like, all right, well I'm going to get done. And so my plan was have the business, have it make me some extra money. I had a pretty good chunk, and I was hoping that I could last and continue with the business hopefully through school. So it was like a project with school.
The name First Victory, how'd you come about?
So it was like a mix between the thought process behind like what we would bring to people as like their first production, being a small company instead of having a big company that's not affordable. So it was a mix between that idea as like their first victory. Yeah, like their first step in that direction as like the victory for them. So I saw like the small town people as like, you know what, I'm going to actually leverage that and say, we can offer you something that you don't have, that most places in Pittsburgh might have, but I'm going to try to bring it here.
Got it.
And try to get a starting mark.
Got it.
And then I kind of developed like some branding with it. So like the logo I developed originally was around that too, like the FVF, and I made that, and it looked kind of like wings, had like a pointing down arrow. Like it looked like something that could be involved in like the military, but not overly.
Not overt, yeah.
Yeah, it's just not too much. So it was supposed to be just like a little bit of like a play on words with the idea, and then I kind of made it into the logo and trademarked that, and I was like, wow, like that's good to go. That's perfect, and made the framework of a website too there, and then I had a bunch of stuff
ready. That had to
be
hard though with a bad web connection.
You have no idea. Oh my god.
We're so spoiled here, aren't we?
Oh, it's so bad. Oh my god, it would take me hours just to like make a page.
Which is
just make a page
crazy.
And just do everything is just loading and having to make a change, and it times out, and I'm like, oh my Christ. I'll just have to save all the HTML. That's what I learned to do. I just saved all the HTML in just like Word docs. So I'm just like, cool, if I lose it, copy and paste it.
So your circumstance actually kind of forced you to learn things you may have just skipped over had you been here,
yes,
right?
100%. Yeah, because I got like a ton of friends, just like you probably do, that like want to start something small. They don't have enough time, or they don't have enough like self-control to not be distracted. And like I was forced. I was like pinned to like just be like, cool, like I have the time, like let's learn right. And like learn right is what I thought is right, just kind of like learn everything I can, and and then once I come back, have to execute, because like I couldn't do anything with the camera there. I mean, you're not allowed to film on a base with security. Like we had ISIS like 30 kilometers away. Like in general, like you can't have a camera out, you can't post anything, like you're supposed to be keeping on the very much the DL.
So social media over there while you were deployed, this is the question I always wanted answered. What is permitted and what is not permitted?
Okay, so in general, it depends on your leadership and what they allow, but the military says, as part of OPSEC, you can't post your locations of where you're at, plane tickets before you get there, your address before you get there, because then that's like anticipating then people will track our movements to get places. So typically you can post stuff after. Planning to go to Denmark, you saw like I put stuff up, but I didn't really mention anything.
Right.
Cracked the joke that I'm in Antarctica. I just kept saying that just because it was funny.
Right.
Because I was flying all over.
It sure seemed that way following you on your journey there.
Right. Yeah. It's just like I know that I need to take a little pause from like the specifics and doing it as much.
I get it.
So I kind of just threw it out there occasionally. So the rules do kind of depend on like the timing. Like they'll put out some new rules and new laws, and it depends on your unit. But typically, you shouldn't post locations. You shouldn't post specifics, which is like pretty easy to do now. You can just be, like I'm here and tag the place. Like you cannot do that kind of stuff if you're on a mission.
I would think not.
Yeah, and like they'll just find it and make you take it down. And like occasionally, like you could get in trouble, but like they'll just be like, all right, take that off. Like. Right now, it's pretty much how it goes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was always never clear to me in this age of. I don't even like the term Big Brother, but we feel that way, for people like me that are old enough to remember the Orson Welles book, and in 1984, it kind of somewhat feels like that now.
Yeah.
Everybody knows. I mean, it's my wife has her kids tracked with some, I don't know if it's Snapchat or some app where they all know where each other are all the time.
Yeah.
Which is nuts to me. I don't want anyone ever knowing where I'm at, ever. But she goes, oh, yeah, Damien's here and Saffron's here. And I'm like, how do you know that? She goes, we're all connected with this app, which to me is just nuts. So obviously that wouldn't work for the military.
Oh, no. Yeah. See, like we had to turn off all the tracking device type stuff on our phones before we left. And there's a big brief on it. Got probably 3 or 4 briefs on it just on that alone.
But while you were deployed, though, that it was a year over in the Middle East, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so while you were there, I'd imagine with connectivity being so poor as it was.
Right.
Were you able to see Instagram? Were you able to see Facebook? Were you able to actually use it in any capacity over there?
Oh yeah, you could get on and use it. It depended on the country. So because like my platoon within the company was just this weird mix of like we got pulled to random places for random parts of missions. So we'd go to Kuwait for like 6 weeks, then we went to Jordan for like 2.5 months, and then we went here, there. So depending on where you went, you wouldn't get service. You'd have to go get a SIM card for your phone and like all this crap. So it kind of depended. In some places it was expensive. Okay. It just didn't have like a bunch of data you could use or like free Wi-Fi. Like a base doesn't have very much Wi-Fi access because then they could get targeted or they could get so they don't have Wi-Fi. So you had to go buy or find some on your own typically.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So it depends on like where you're at, and like that's like you're using a SIM card from a different country. Like like strangely enough, like you use that too, and like you can't go on porn. Like all of it's blocked. Like all of it. That was like my first. I swear.
Is that the military doing that, or is it the country you were in?
Oh, that's the country.
That's what I thought.
Isn't that strange?
Yeah,
it was like it was like everything. I just remember like this one private I had like day 2 of being there. He's like, "Sir, there's a problem." I was so busy, I hadn't got to that point of boredom per se. Oh my god, it was so funny. That
was a problem.
Yeah, I was like, let me look into VPN blockers, and I asked somebody else. I was
hilarious. My god, that's hysterical. That's hysterical.
Typical Joes, man. I mean,
I get
their
it.
priorities are within their little circle of things that they want.
God bless them, man. God bless them. God bless them. So, okay, you come back to 17, right? So now you're back stateside, and now are you here or you're California? Where are you?
I mean, I spent time at home in California for like a month or 2, and then I came back to Clarion.
Okay.
Went to school. I was in a long-term thing there. I was with somebody. I was married, so we had like a life together that we had started there. Yeah. So my intent was to stay there, and then we were going to move together and leave. Sure. And so it kind of worked because I was like, school's there anyways. She had a job there. It was easy to get by. I was like, cool, perfect time to start a business. I have joint income. I made a bunch of money. Right. I have school. I have the government aid from the deployment, so they pay for school, pay for some of your per diem and housing and stuff. So I'm like, this is like no better time to kind of just roll the dice, Okay.
Yeah. All right. Before we continue, you walked in with 2 cans here.
Oh yes, I did.
Yeah. So he tells me he's gonna like surprise me with some alcohol. I agree. For a moment I had visions of grandeur, and then he walks in and He walks in with White Claw. The Duffies, if you're listening.
Yeah. If they're on next, they'll be proud.
Soon, very soon.
Same with every other white girl that buys this stuff.
Hey, they say, if they made that in pumpkin spice, a white girl's head would explode.
Oh my God, it would. If they made it in pumpkin spice, I'd never drink it though. I'd never drink it again. I couldn't.
I'm up for anything, man. I'll try one.
Well, I got you the best flavor, which is mango. Yeah.
Pass that over, pal. Pass that over. Pass that over.
The people that know me on the internet know that I drink White Claw.
Okay.
To the point where I get tagged in things like religiously. Which is so funny.
We got a friend who still drinks Zima. We wear him out bad, man.
You
don't even
heard
remember Zima. You're so young, you don't even remember Zima.
I've heard of Zima, but what?
This is kind of like the Zima of the 2020s.
Yeah.
Salute, my friend.
Yeah, do you too?
Here we go. Well, it's actually pretty good.
It's not that bad.
The other flavor I had wasn't that hot.
No, the mango, I don't know what they're doing at White Claw, but it's only sold on its own. So the pack that has like the mixed flavors, this one's only its own pack.
You have to buy.
And it's more expensive because it's great. Yeah.
Okay, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Mango White Claw. I reluctantly give it a thumbs up. Not bad.
Yes. All right.
He did it. He actually got me to drink one. I can't believe it.
Yeah, I brought two as a surprise.
That was weird because I thought, I thought this guy's traveled the world. He's probably got a heck of a lot of culture in his young years. I'm thinking, okay, he's going to bring some kind of really weird or odd, like, whiskey or something in here. And I'm not much on the, we drank a lot in a prior show. We don't date shows here, but last night we drank a little bit into studio. So wasn't probably going to be looking forward to putting liquor down my throat today, but this is acceptable. So
it's, at least they're like refreshing. They're like kind of like for summer, they're not bad. I mean, I don't think I could be drinking these when it's cold outside.
But you're not getting these overseas, right? There's no way you're getting these overseas.
No, I tried to look for it just for fun. I was like, I didn't see it. No. I didn't see it in Denmark. I just drank beer.
So, all right. I want to know how we got where the idea came for the apparel company with you, because that's where you and I initially connected, was your campaigns for your apparel and so forth, and it was fascinating to me. And one thing led to another, and I'm like, wow, this guy's got a big following, and he's traveling all over the place. Dynamic character, excellent videos. So you're managing your social media tremendously. So that was our initial connection, but it was over the apparel. So how'd that idea come about?
Yeah, so the apparel, I had started messing around with apparel like just for fun, because I had people that were like, dude, I like the fact you're starting a company. That's so cool. They don't need a video though. They're just like my friends. Sure. And I was like, cool, like I'll make like logoed hats and patches or something. So in the Army, we had like these hats that we'd wear like overseas and stuff, and you could throw a patch on. So, there's a couple guys down that were, I don't know, from Pakistan or something, and they made some patches. So I just handed them the logo, and I'm like, can you make me like two? I just threw it on my hat. I'm like, cool, I have a logo now. Yay. Close enough to being a business owner. And I just had like two patches, and then just I just wear it to the gym. It was like my gym ball hat, and stuff. And I would just be at work or at the gym and have it on. And so I came back to the States, and a couple of my friends in the Army were like, yeah, like that'd be cool to get a patch, because like, how much would it cost? I'm like, oh, dude, I don't sell these. I have two for me to wear.
Right.
Just because it's my logo and I trademarked it, like no real reason. And so I made a whole bunch of these, I made like 20, 30 patches at once. And then a whole bunch of my friends just were like, yeah, like how much? I'm like, I don't know, $5? Sure. Like they cost me like $1 to make at most. And then I was like, it'd be cool if I actually made hats with the patches, so then I could sell both. Just
so that's how it started then. Really organically, almost by happenstance.
Yeah. There wasn't anything that turned me on about like clothing or fashion, like not at all. I was just like, I was like, what's simple and easy to make? And so I actually made a ball cap from a distributor online, and had the patches on the ball cap instead of just the Army cap, because I was like, oh, well, a ball cap, more people could wear it. So I had one with a patch on the front, and then the patch was the Velcro just like the Army gear. So I was like, cool, I'll make that cap with a patch that you can change out if you want, put like the American flag on, so like you don't have to wear that one. And then I'll sell hats too. So I'll sell the hats with the patch. So it was like, if you bought a hat, it came with a patch, and then I would say, hey, you could change them out. So you don't have to always have the logo,
Got it.
So I just like,
that's kind of unique,
that'd be fun. Yeah, because then I could just carry them on me and hand them out, and so I kind of started with that. pretty early on, and then didn't get anything to like clothing or anything till later. So it was just hats. So I just had a whole bunch of my friends just had hats. And
First Victory Apparel.
that was still under the name First Victory Films. It was just the logo of the film company.
So okay. So it was basically branding the film company.
Yep.
Through apparel at that time.
Yeah.
In the beginning.
Yeah, and it wasn't really for extra money. It was just kind of for fun.
Yeah,
but I was like, I can't spend it and just give them out entirely.
No.
Yeah. I was like, I wish I made it more so that I could just be like, have free stuff to advertise for me. But I was like, can't really do that. So I had to charge something. But so later during the summer, I had split with my ex at the time, and actually the same time that happened, this is like how this works with me for some reason, but I'll go through a horrible dark time to get out of it. I'll find, for some reason, passion projects. And this was the same thing, like deployment, where I had gone through a divorce. It was really rough. And in the middle, well, not in the middle of it, but towards the end of it, the same like week that the roughest part was happening, I got in a car crash. The same time. I know. It was like a fluke where like I wasn't at home. I got in a car crash in Clarion on like the main street. Someone ran through a red light, hit the driver's side door on me, and was speeding, didn't hit the brakes, nothing. And it was right when I was going through this tough time, and it just like compounded to where I was like, dude, anything, like what else is going to happen to me now? Like I was having such a rough like part of that time. And that happened. And so I had no car. I wasn't at my house I was at, which my little home studio was at. I was moving it out. I put like everything on pause with work. I was like, cool, I'll do whatever I have to do now. I'm going to put this month on pause, get my stuff together. And then the car crash happened. I'm like, cool, I can't do anything else now. So again, I had no car.
Were you hurt?
Miraculously, no.
Okay.
I remember one of my employees saw me get hit by a car too. Like he was crossing the street. He was like jogging and he saw me get hit. And like the door was like right here and it was all the way up to me. Like here's where the wheel is, all the way here. And somehow like I hit my head, but like I should have broken something here. Like I don't know how. And I like crawled out the other door. The airbag on the side blew off, and they like tipped my car up and then back down. They hit me that hard, and I was mad. Like I crawled out of the car and I was just like, dude, I'm gonna rip the door open of this person, because they ran a red light and I knew it. And I was like, dude, this
understood.
I was mad. And like I opened her door and she has like a broken wrist and broke her nose, and like she was in like worse shape than I was. And I was like, what kind of stroke of luck for me to get hit by a car through a red light and be fine? Right. It was just like the weird, like I left that day and I was fine. It was so weird.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So like I count that as like a plus, obviously. At that time I was like, well, things could be worse. Like I don't have a car, but I didn't break my back. So like
good point.
Yeah. And I was carless, and I was at my friend's apartment transitioning out of my house that I had with my ex, and so I was like, again, I was at the spot where I'm like, all right, don't know what I'm gonna do. So I could just, again, I was like in a dark place. And when I had gone through insurance, I'd spent a lot of time at home, just kind of like, because I didn't have a car, I couldn't do a lot, doing some online stuff, and I found out I was gonna get more than what my car was worth back.
Okay.
And I'm like, I'm gonna buy the same car or the same price, and I'm gonna take the extra amount of money and start a clothing business online, because I thought, cool, some passive income. I'm gonna start something I can do online only. So then when I go back into production, I'll have something that's on the side that's just kind of running.
Why clothing? What took you to clothing? I mean, I get the hat. You were already there doing First Victory Film logo hats.
Yep.
But to do full on apparel,
I think it was just spawned from the hats mostly.
Really?
Because I was like, you know what, hats would be cool. And then I was like, well, shirts with a logo would be cool, and then some graphic tees, and I'm like, because then with that I could make some different types of shirt designs and logo designs. So then I was like, wow, I should just start a new project with this and keep it split away from like the production. And so I looked into just places, and I'm like, all right, like what's the best way to go about this, because I don't want to hold on to the inventory. So I looked at different types of models that I could use, of like, what are places where they have and hold everything for you and send stuff out for you potentially. And I just looked, and again, just taught myself from the ground up, like what's the best model to do that with, Yeah, and that was pretty much it. Like I just wanted to start that based on the hats, and they did really well. And I was like, if I can make some more designs, I had a good time trying to do it, and maybe I could just make that go up a little bit on the side, just for some extra income.
Yeah. Well, definitely. The website's great. You obviously come a ways with that. You come quite a ways.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. So, is it? I can imagine when I was in the guitar business, it was amazing to see somebody on stage playing one of my creations. That was a hugely satisfying thing. So I'm guessing with you, seeing people wear your design, wear your clothing's got to be incredibly satisfying.
Yes, yeah, and it's to the point now where probably the second or third week I was in Pittsburgh, somebody was wearing some of my clothing that they bought online, and I was like, holy shit. I was like, that is so weird. And they didn't know who I was, actually. So they totally found the site, just on their own. And I was like, no way.
Isn't that crazy?
It's the weirdest feeling. I was like, this is like unreal. It feels so weird, and you're like, holy shit, like I actually made something that somebody bought. Like, that's crazy.
We used to give T-shirts away with the guitars, and then after a while, people started just wanting the T-shirts. People didn't play guitars. Oh, that's a cool design. It's cool. So we started selling them, and I wasn't monetizing it, Ethan, like I probably should have at the time, because I didn't know it could be a thing.
Right.
Then I figured out it could be a thing.
Yep.
But the first time I was driving down the Parkway, and it was the middle of summer, probably 2005, 6, and I'm driving, and this motorcycle comes flying past me, a sport bike. And the guy had one of my shirts on, his just flapping in the wind, but the logo was like, like, wait, ho, 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 look at that. Something that was a little ridiculous, small idea in my head. Yep. And now some guy's wearing that willingly.
Yeah, wanting to. You're like, I didn't have to force you to put this on. Like, you didn't find this in a dumpster? I don't think.
Yeah, so you just can't. It's just, it's amazing. So, I saw some recent posts of yours that you were doing some film work in New York City. Is that correct? And you were in a helicopter.
Yeah.
Filming in New York City.
Yeah.
And that was part of your bucket list. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. That was
Explain that a little bit.
Kind of through YouTube, I just wanted to, again, just kind of make some cool ideas and just kind of make films that I enjoyed, because partially what had happened kind of in the past, I was getting a little burned out through the production. That's why clothing was such a different setup that I was like, I need to learn something new, do something entirely different during that hard time. And so I decided to go to New York with my buddy, and I was like, you know what, I want to make some fun content for the sake of making fun content. And I was like, hey man, do you want to go to the city? And it was he and I's both kind of like idea to go there and shoot from a helicopter, which I had flown in a helicopter for work about a dozen times.
Right.
But I hadn't been able to have fun doing it. It was just like, all right, we're doing this at night, or I'm in charge of like the chalk of like people, and just I have to plan all day, and then it just becomes not very fun. So I was like, I just want to go up and be able to fly and just enjoy it, and just enjoy it, because like it is fun. And
you say so.
Yeah,
I'm not much on heights, man. That looked horrifying to me.
Oh no, it's great. Well, yeah. So we picked a place that had like a good deal on like Groupon, and it was a no-door helicopter flight for half an hour, and wasn't as much as you'd think. It was like $200 each for half an hour, but for like the experience of it, I think it's well worth it, because they do a tour of the whole city, so you can kind of give them a route too. Like if you want to go see specific things, they're like, yeah, like we'll fly over it. They're like, they can't go over Trump Tower.
Right.
Pretty much the only limit, I think.
Right.
And
you were able to shoot video. They had no problem with you shooting stills or video up there while you were there.
No. So they had us strapped like with your phone and stuff. They'll strap it to you, and they'll say, okay, like the stuff that you have on you is good. They'll just strap it to you. The part that I thought was weird being on like civilian aircraft is all it was a seatbelt to hold you in. Yeah, that was it. Same clip, like
forget that, pal.
Yeah. So they're like explaining like you can like turn out, like we'll like tell you when to like turn out if you want to turn out, hang out your feet, and you can like hang out the side, and like I'm telling you, I was just like, this was the edge. I could just
I could see.
Lean out.
I could see.
Oh, it was great.
I
loved it,
though, man.
Oh, I loved it.
Really?
Oh my god, yeah, so much fun.
Okay.
And so yeah, it was just a thing. I'm like, dude, let's just screw it. Let's just go in like one day. We did a 1 day trip. It was like, well, it was 2 technically, but we went up the night before.
Right.
Shot some stuff in the day, then went and flew in the afternoon, and then came back. And it was incredible. So much fun. Highly suggest you do it.
That was a bucket list for a moment for you, huh?
Yeah. Just to make something fun that's unique out of a helicopter, because I just wanted to be able to shoot. Because like I fly, and I'm like, man, if I had my camera, that'd be cool. Like I always thought that. But those helicopters are weird too, because they're very small, which I'm not used to. Like a Chinook fits like 25 people. It's pretty big. It's like a bus. And then a Black Hawk fits like 3 up front, 3 behind them, 9-ish, more or less.
But the Apaches.
Apaches only fit 2. They only sit 2 people. Yeah, so
That's a war machine, right?
Yeah, the attack helicopters only fit 2. They're not for carrying personnel.
Okay, obviously not.
Yeah, but
they're for killing you.
yeah, they're good at it. But this bird was tiny, so we were like seriously close. Like our knees were like right here, like across from each other.
Okay.
And it was strange to look, and in your peripheral you see out into like open space instead of inside of a helicopter with a door and stuff, because
both sides are open, right? Yeah.
So just all the way through was an open cabin. It's kind of like flying by like toothpicks, like there just wasn't much around, and you just had a seatbelt. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
You told me a pretty cool story off camera here. Ethan and I connected on Instagram probably a year ago, and you were one of the folks that I wanted to talk to once I had this project. And the honest story, and he's here to verify it. It's kind of bizarre. We were at an eatery locally here about a couple of weeks ago, and I saw him, and I just seen him from social media, and I said, "That is Ethan Merritt," and sure enough, it was you. So I introduced myself, and here you are. But you also said you had a similar story walking across the Brooklyn Bridge. Is that right?
Yeah, that same 2-day trip, same thing happened to me, which is just, again, one of those weird moments where you're like,
extremely bizarre,
very weird, because I'm by no means any sort of celebrity, so like I cannot fathom how much this happens to somebody that's even like remotely known. Like across the world type of deal, or across the states. But I was walking across the Brooklyn Bridge again. We flew, or no, this was the night before, but we were across the bridge, and I mean the Brooklyn Bridge is busy, especially at night, like in the afternoon.
No question.
There's tons of people, and like I passed by this guy, and he stops me. He's like, hey, I think I know you. Guy I'd never seen. And that face you make when you're like, no, you don't. Like, I don't know you, so it's like, it's weird, like it just gets weird. And I was like, no, you don't. So I just like kept walking, and then he's like, no. He's like, I have you on your Instagram. And I'm like, no, you don't. But sure, pull it up. And pulls up my name, and he's like, how's the new lens that you have like on my camera, because I'd posted about it. And I was holding, I was like, oh shit, this guy like actually follows me. Like, oh shit.
Isn't that great though? That is so powerful.
I was kind of being rude, but
you're
just
being
threw
careful.
Me off. Yeah, like I'm in like the Army, like I'm just a little cognizant of things,
Sure.
And I was just like, oh shit. And then I was like, yeah, dude, like, and he had a camera. He's like, yeah, like I take a bunch of pictures here,
cool is that,
and then
though, huh?
Yeah, it was great.
The power of social media is insane.
Yeah, and he's genuinely very nice guy.
Right.
Found me through somehow on Instagram again, and then the next time we went, I was like, dude, let's shoot, and we shot together and hung out.
That's really cool.
Yeah, super nice guy, and he was amped to just hang out and stuff, and I was like, yeah, dude, of course, like I'm just a person, man. Like I'm here just screwing off in the city. I don't know what I'm doing here. Like you live here, like so I'm like, yeah, of course I'm gonna hang out with you, So it was cool, but like and like it was really kind of eye opening, because I was like, oh shit, man, like this is powerful stuff, because like you don't really know the amount that it can influence people. And then I talked to my friend who's there with me, and he was of course kind of blown away. He's like, what the hell? He's like, how does that happen? I'm like, I don't know, dude. And he had a good point. So Clarion is a town of about 5,000 people. I've got 7-ish thousand on my Instagram. He's like, dude, you speak to the entire town of Clarion like that. So he's like, it's not a surprise, but he's like, that's a lot of people. And just,
no question.
And I was like, oh shit, that's like our whole town at one time sees everything that you do if you want them to. And, I was like, you know what? Like I took the momentum. I'd kind of built some of that, but I was like, wow, I really should take this more seriously, in the sense of it being like a good impactful thing, instead of just, like it is for fun, and it always had been for me. But then I was like, you know what? I should get more into personal branding, where I can influence people and companies in a good way, and kind of do some storytelling in a good way. I talked about my divorce on there at one point, and I had hundreds of messages from from that story, from people saying like,
it's commonality.
Yeah, like I'm here for you, or I'd experienced this too. And some of my friends that like opened up to me about stuff, and I was like, whoa, like I had no idea. Like if I would have kept my mouth shut, and not been relatable, like maybe I helped somebody out just like they helped me out.
No question.
And so
it's a good vehicle. I mean, it's another way to be interconnected. Right. And again, there are things that are abused naturally with social media. There's always going to be that element of nonsense and rubbish. So you can get through that stuff, though. You have to work to get through that stuff. You have to be diligent to get through it, right?
Yes.
I mean, naturally.
Yep.
I mean, it is what it is. But your video content is excellent. Like you have that knack to, from my perspective, grabbing a couple of friends, you could be going and getting a pizza, and by the time you film that 1 minute to 4 minute clip, it's flipping hysterical. So that to me is a gift. That to me is a gift, and you definitely had that. But when you talk about content, you're a content creator, and I think that there are people that also call themselves content creators. And when I do a deep dive on them, I don't see any content. So what's your definition of a productive content creator?
Oh man,
good question, huh?
Yeah, that's tough. I think that's one you didn't ask me before the show. No, that's good though. That's good.
This is pretty unscripted though. We really didn't. We had what, 3 or 4 minutes before we started to hash some things out. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think a content creator is somebody that is creating like truly passionate projects, and then kind of by any means necessary.
Okay.
A little bit, because the well-known vloggers, like I was hearing a podcast the other day, and it was about some guys that have a very, very huge podcast. They have a huge vlog too, and they were talking about how they go on tour, and they'll be very honest with younger people, because a lot of younger people, younger than me, want to be a YouTuber when they grow up.
Sure.
There was like some article about like that's like the new thing for Americans to want to be a YouTuber, which is like hysterical, because that didn't exist 10 years ago.
You think?
Like it wasn't a career. And
it does speak though to the ego of the human being, though. It does.
Oh yeah, it does.
Because it speaks. It's really look at me, which 30 years ago you would have no way of gauging that most of the population kind of felt that way.
Yeah,
and it was vehicle.
Yeah, and there's no way to do that. And now more than ever, it's accessible. It's easy to do. If you have a phone, you can practically create a career off a phone. I mean, you can, but these guys had a good point, because they were like talking to people, and they're like, if you want to be a YouTuber, you have to want to do it like in a sense that it's like almost going to kill you. Like you have to want to do it more than anything, no matter what. Like you are committed to making videos every single day until you get it right. Yeah, because like, well, as just as like the creator part, like if you're not to that level of passion, you're not going to be able to make it as a career as a creator. So I think like that level is like the tippy top right there, where like the people that are like almost manic about it really do get there, because they've trialed and errored everything. They've done all platforms, they've tested multiple platforms, they've been creative in and out of their comfort zones, because they want to be that badly, where they'll just sacrifice it to be like, I think this will work, and it might not work, and and you have a public audience now, and stuff. And I think like a true content creator will kind of do that, and that's where I'm saying like yes and no on myself a little bit, because like I've done things that have bombed, and I'm just like, yep, it's just kind of how it went. And then I've tested things and found what works, and I'm like, cool, this stuff works with Instagram, let's keep doing that, but let's try using this, let's try doing a little bit more of this. But some people say they are, and they'll kind of work in one avenue, and that avenue works really well for them, but maybe they don't, if that falls through, I mean, who knows if they'll stick around with it, like if they really cared, like they can adapt, like they can make it work.
It's amazing to me, just long before we had the idea for this show, I was following you'll laugh, I was following electronic reviews on YouTube. That was my thing for a while. And I can't say I was the biggest electronics person. I wasn't enthused with big TVs and all that stuff, but I was looking for a phone. And I went online and said, okay, what's the best Android phone? This was a couple years ago. And I found a guy, in New York City who has this 9 million followings. And the kid started, I think, when he was first year of college in New York City. Now he's got this big building he owns, and he's got a warehouse, and these huge red cameras, and just all this high-end equipment. It's
not Casey Neistat, is it?
I think it's Marcus Brownlee.
Marcus Brownlee, okay.
Yeah, I can look him up. And then conversely, there was a guy who was living in Queens, and he was recording these videos in his basement, and he did the same stick all the time, and he spoke some pretty heavy Queens accent, a lot of vulgarity, but he did good reviews, but he spoke a certain way to a certain audience, and he had like 7 million followers and was monetizing the living hell out of it.
Yeah.
And it was very rudimentary and probably used the same camera on a tripod and did the same, like background, and the cat would come, his cat would climb up on the table and kind of like, and he made a whole stick out of the whole thing. So again, there's no rules, right? It's whatever kind of connects with people. But would you say that the one prevailing thing is, regardless of what you're doing, would you say it's consistency?
Yeah.
The ability to do it consistently over and over again until it either completely falls off a cliff or works, right?
I would say yes, and kind of backing that with the passion, because like you gotta want it more than anybody in the world. At least in your perspective, with that consistency, because like there's a lot of people that'll be consistent and it'll kind of fall off on their own because they're not very passionate. So like if you really want to be passionate in it, you have to really, really be passionate, and consistency comes with that. That's like the partner with the passion, from what I see it as. Because like there's a few different ways to do it. So he had done just that way, and it was probably working. But if it didn't, if he wanted to make that work, he would change a few things, and he probably did early on. But I mean, some of the best people, like, they weren't one-hit wonders magically. They didn't upload one video and they're done. Like, that's very few and far between.
In the beginning of YouTube, I think 10 years ago, that was a thing.
Like the first thing I ever uploaded has 250,000 views 10 years ago. I uploaded it 10 years ago. I was like, well, that's not gonna happen now, but
no.
It's like, it just did at the time,
YouTube's different now. Like, to me, YouTube is harder to monetize and harder to get views than Facebook videos. Seems to be a lot easier. We put this show on Vimeo, YouTube, and Facebook.
Right.
And I will assure you, Facebook, if the data is correct, through some targeting ads we do, the videos do tremendously well.
Now, is that through the paid ads, or is that organic too?
We have some organic. We have some organic, and we do some paid as well, but not heavy money. Heavy money, but just enough to give it a push. And then we ask for the shares we ask our listeners to please consider sharing our show, and the shares have been phenomenally good, even through the paid ads.
Right.
So that's been.
Right.
That's been very, very good. But YouTube has been slower to, and again, we haven't spent money there yet.
Yeah.
So we're still trying to figure that whole thing out.
Targeting, and then also depending on your market, is different with YouTube and Facebook too. But like the share is sort of like the golden ticket button for the algorithm too, as well as just the fact that it does share with that person's audience of maybe a few hundred people or a few thousand people or maybe 10,000 people. But as per the algorithm, it'll start to rank that thing higher in a priority. And then you're pairing that well with everything else. So the fact that you have it on all platforms, the metadata matches up, and it'll push you onto Google a little bit higher over time. And that's where the consistency, I think, will benefit with YouTube over time.
Yeah, and all the shows are there. But you can see it's growing on YouTube, but it's much slower than Facebook. And then again, being cynical, Ethan, I don't know if I believe all the stats on either of them. I mean, they can tell us whatever they want, and you and I don't have the ability to question any of it. Really, we can question it. We can't really inquire if it's valid or not, right?
Well, yeah, and that's kind of where it comes down to, like, there is a lot of things like with Instagram that people say, you have to do it like this because then it works out well, and you have to make your feed look good because people like a good looking feed. And I'm like, that's just been regurgitated so many times that people do that, because I'm like, well, I made more people on my page this last year than I did the last 3 years, and I don't consider feed as one of those things that I give two shits about, because I like the quality of the content, and more so like the copy that I write, and that's the storytelling part, not just the picture. And I'm like, so does it really matter? Probably not. But it's been said so many times that it's like the gold standard now. It's supposed to be like certain ways of doing things. But
yeah, but you also, what I learned from you, I'll share this out right away, was that you were very interactive, and I knew this before social media. I just knew this in one-on-one sales, interviewing. Once you get interactive and you ask questions, or you ask something of your audience, asking them to take action. And not just share something, but asking them a question, just having them ask you a question. That that interconnectivity, that interaction is so important. And most content creators don't do it. It's very dictatorial. It's very presenting, but not engaging. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, I think the best ones now are the ones that do that. Like, I think those are the people that are going to be able to stay and maintain and even grow versus people that just, are able to put out something for the sake of putting it out and kind of keep it at that. I think that definitely worked for the time being, and depending on the demographic, if you're a very good-looking girl, you can post certain types of pictures that are going to get engagement no matter what you do.
Yeah.
But I still don't think it's going to hold value over somebody that is engaging with an audience, because some
something
people
of value.
Yes. Yeah. Because then when people feel like they know you, and then they're able to actually communicate with you even a little bit, I think that holds them there longer now than what it used to be, because so many people are out there.
Got it.
Yeah.
It's the pool is getting crowded.
It is. It is.
And there isn't any more lifeguards either. Am I right? It's just all meant for itself. So what's an immediate future for you outside of you going to England next week?
Oh,
and why are you going to England?
I'm going tomorrow.
Over this next week. Yeah. Why are you going back to England?
So my parents moved back there. So when I had grown up there, my parents just enjoyed it a lot.
What
when
part
my dad
of
was
England?
in
What part of England?
What part do they live at now?
Uh-huh.
They live like, I want to say, west of Oxford, so
Okay.
like pretty much straight west of London.
Okay.
We used to live northeast of London, about an hour.
Okay.
About an hour? I think it was about an hour. And so they live on a whole different area that I've never been. So that's kind of exciting. And then I still have some contact with friends that I'd see very rarely, but
That's
some
cool.
like childhood friends.
That's cool.
Yeah, we go out and drink, and it's just like feels like I never left. It's a trip, but yeah. So I'm just gonna go back there to see them. So I had this trip planned, and then outside of the Army, trips to Europe too. I'm doing Europe a lot in the next like 6 weeks, like 3 times total in 6 weeks.
These are all
trips.
missions.
The one going to England is just for me, and then we go back to Denmark for that training that we had prepped for last week. So that was all the preparation, met with their leadership. I was the rep for the States, and then so we met and had some plans laid out and stuff, and then we'll go back and execute and do like a joint exercise with them.
Okay.
Yeah, with the Danes, which our unit has never done with Denmark before, so this is a first. So far so good though. They're extremely nice people, and
right.
had done a lot for us for our arrival. Like, they're excited that the U.S. will train with them.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Makes things easier, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. But oh my God, it was so funny going there though. I will tell you what, every single person thought I was Scandinavian, because I was with my friend who's a brunette guy, and me, and I'm blonde and blue-eyed, and it took us almost the whole first day, but people would talk to him in English and talk to me in Danish.
That's nuts.
Because they thought I was, because I looked just like him.
That's nuts.
There's like a bunch of people in me. It's like the place I was at too. It's like, oh, it's so funny. It like all day, and then I'm like, why do people keep talking to straight Danish to me, but like to him they won't? And I was like, oh my God, it's because I look like them. Just like it just clicked. But you're talking like 15% of the population of the area we were at, which is much more local. It wasn't in like Copenhagen. Like 15% of them were not blonde and blue-eyed. The rest were.
Right.
So it's kind of a trip, but
you dig travel, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. I've traveled all over the U.S. and all over Europe. Yeah. I've done a lot of traveling. Yeah.
It doesn't get old for you.
No. I mean, there's like some times where I'm like, yeah, like it'll be nice to stay home, and like some of that's tied into work where I'm like, if I'm home I can be more productive, but then it's nice to let loose. Like this trip, I'm very much debating how much I want to do like creating versus just kind of enjoying it, because I'll be with my parents in their home, and so like there's gonna be a set amount of time where I'm like, I'm just gonna hang out with them and just live that moment there with them for a good week out of my trip or something. But we'll be going over to Ireland. My roommate and I will go there, and we'll have some fun there, and then we'll come back.
You should go to the Guinness factory if you haven't been there.
Oh, we are gonna go. We are. Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so pumped.
You learn to pour a draft. They'll give you a little certificate that you did it right. Try to leave there sober. I challenge you to leave there sober.
Try. Oh God. Yeah, I heard you can just get a beer at like multiple levels of it or whatever.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. That's what all they do over there is drink.
Well, I got a tattoo for Ireland.
Get out.
Yeah, I got one for an alcoholic beverage there. Yeah,
that's interesting.
I did. I swear.
So what's the name of the beverage?
I kind of want to have you guess. It's actually this one right here. This little arm tattoo. This little small one says "Sine Matu."
Yeah,
it's in Latin.
What is that?
That's on the Jameson bottle.
Oh, get out! Really?
Yeah. It's on the Jameson bottle. I love Jameson.
Yeah. Well, it's a good one. It'll do some damage.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's a little bit rough sometimes, but it's good.
This has been good, my friend.
Yeah. It's been absolutely
Absolutely.
great.
You have to come back and do this again. You got to come back and see me.
Yeah. It'll have to be when I'm,
the rare times you're home.
The rare times I'll be back in October.
All right. We'll have you back on.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll have some
good.
travel stories as well. There's probably a bunch of travel stories we've not gotten into here either yet, but we'll save those.
Yes. Yeah. We'll have to save them because there's plenty of just things that I can tell you. Just some good, some bad.
I appreciate it, man. And
course,
so, and where can they check you out besides Instagram? Naturally, it's Ethan Merritt Official. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes.
On Instagram.
Yep.
And for the clothing, is it just .com? Is it just
firstvictoryapparel.com
right.
or at First Victory Apparel for the Instagram. So I'm heavily engaged on there because they have the store promo that you kind of fix in with it, which has been something I've been learning.
You're busy. You're busy.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, you're busy.
Yeah, I can't wait to go back and pack.
I appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah, of course, man.
All right. Thank you all. We appreciate it.
We're out.
Until next time.
See ya.